It was a constant headache, you know, like a dull pressure behind the eyes that wouldn't go away, even with medication, not even with coffee, not with anything. At first, I thought, oh, just work stress, normal. I brushed it off, took a painkiller, and carried on with the day. But the pain remained there, persistent, like a constant reminder that something was not right. There were days when I woke up with it, and it only left me alone when I finally crashed in bed, exhausted. I tried to convince myself it was just lack of sleep, or that I was drinking too little water. I made up excuses to avoid facing the truth. After all, who has time to get sick, right? But then the dizziness started. Quick spells, but they left me feeling lost, you know? One day at the supermarket, I was picking out some fruits, and suddenly everything became a bit blurry. I leaned on the shopping cart to not fall and waited for it to pass. When my vision returned to normal, I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. That was a sign, a cry from my body begging for help. It was there, among the apples and bananas, that I realized I needed help. I was scared, I admit. Scared of what others would think. Scared to admit I couldn't handle it. Scared of the diagnosis. But the fear of continuing that way was greater. I'm Ashley. I'm 34 years old. And until recently, I thought I had everything under control. A normal life, you know. Work, friends, family, plans for the future. Nothing extraordinary, but happy. At least, that's what I told myself. But the truth is that beneath that facade, a shadow was growing every day, slowly engulfing me in a spiral of sadness and hopelessness. A depression that I didn't want to see, that I ignored until it knocked me down. I decided to share my story because I don't want other people to go through what I went through. I took too long to realize something was wrong, to listen to the signs my body was giving me. I was neglectful of myself, prioritizing everything and everyone before my own mental health, and I deeply regret that. If I had sought help earlier, maybe I wouldn't have reached the point where I did. I know that talking about depression is still a taboo, that many people are ashamed to admit they are suffering, but I believe that the more we talk about it, the easier it will be for people to ask for help. My intention is not to give advice, nor to portray myself as a hero. I am just an ordinary person who has made mistakes, learned from them, and wants to turn their experience into something positive. I want my story to serve as a warning and encouragement for others to take care of themselves, listen to their bodies, and seek medical help when needed. If I can help just one person, then it will have been worth it. At first, everything was so subtle, a passing irritability, a tiredness more persistent than usual. I woke up already exhausted, as if I had not slept at all. But I attributed this to the daily hustle, the sleepless nights due to work, the constant worries that haunted my mind. It's just stress, I repeated to myself, trying to convince myself that everything was fine. Headaches were frequent, almost daily. A constant pressure in my forehead, throbbing in my temples, preventing me from concentrating and making me irritated by any noise, any strong light. Instead of seeking a doctor, I turned to painkillers, ibuprofen, paracetamol, anything that promised quick relief and allowed me to carry on with my activities. They worked for a few hours, but the problem came back in full force, like a persistent shadow that refused to leave me in peace. Sleep was also compromised. It took me hours to fall asleep, my mind restless, going over the day's events, ruminating worries, creating catastrophic scenarios. When I finally managed to sleep, I woke up several times during the night with a racing heart, feeling a tightness in my chest. To try to improve the quality of sleep, I started drinking chamomile tea before bed, hoping to calm down and relax. It worked some nights, but the insomnia persisted, leaving me more and more tired and irritable. Loss of appetite was another symptom that I ignored. I felt nauseous, with no desire to eat anything. Meals became an obligation, a burden that I needed to fulfill to avoid feeling unwell. I preferred to skip lunch, snacking on something quick in the afternoon, and eating as little as possible for dinner. I started to lose weight, but I didn't care. In fact, I even felt somewhat satisfied with it, as if I were finally able to control something in my life. My routine was a perfect excuse to neglect my health. I would wake up early, work all day, do overtime when needed, come home exhausted, take care of household chores, try to give attention to my family and friends. By the end of the day, there was no energy left for anything, not even to take care of myself. I prioritized everything and everyone before my own health, convincing myself that I was strong and could handle anything. But the truth was that I was wearing myself out, both physically and emotionally. I felt increasingly distant from people, as if I were living in a parallel world. Things that used to bring me joy no longer interested me. I lost the desire to go out with friends, go to the movies, or engage in my hobbies. I preferred to stay at home, alone, locked in my room, immersed in my sadness. I started isolating myself from the world, feeling more and more misunderstood and lonely. That's when I realized I needed help, that I couldn't continue like that. The escalation of symptoms was like a rising tide, silent at first, but relentless in its force. The headaches, which used to be sporadic, became constant companions, accompanying me from dawn to dusk. They no longer confined themselves to the forehead or temples, radiating to the neck, shoulders, back. As if an invisible weight was crushing me. The intensity increased each day, making the simple task of getting out of bed a challenge. At work, the situation became unbearable. The concentration, which had always been one of my strong points, dissipated like smoke. Tasks that I used to perform with ease now required a Herculean effort. The headaches made me irritable and impatient, affecting my relationship with colleagues and clients. I started making silly mistakes, missing deadlines, feeling increasingly incompetent. The fear of being fired haunted me constantly, intensifying my anxiety even more. Relationships also took a hard hit. The constant irritability made me an unpleasant companion. I avoided gatherings with friends and family, making up flimsy excuses. I didn't want them to see me that way, fragile and dependent. The little free time I had left, I spent trying to alleviate the pain, whether with medication, compresses, or massages. Leisure activities, which used to bring me so much joy, were abandoned. I no longer had the energy to play sports, read a book, or watch a movie. The mere idea of leaving the house frightened me. I preferred to lock myself in my room, in the dark, trying to escape reality. The television became my only companion, but not even it could distract me from the pain and suffering. The physical limitations became more and more evident. The difficulty in walking was constant, legs heavy, knees aching with every step. Climbing a flight of stairs turned into torture. Sleep, which was already scarce, became an unattainable luxury. I spent sleepless nights tossing and turning in bed, tormented by pain and anxiety. Performing simple tasks like taking a shower, getting dressed, or cooking required a tremendous effort. Frustration and despair consumed me every day. I felt my body failing me, betraying me. The sense of powerlessness was overwhelming. I didn't understand what was happening to me, why my body was abandoning me in that way. I began to feel guilty, as if I were doing something wrong, as if I deserved all that suffering. I tried to hide the situation from those around me, afraid of worrying them or being judged. I made up excuses to justify my absence, my irritability, my limitations. I pretended to be fine, smiled when I actually wanted to cry, said I was just tired when I was actually exhausted. But the truth is, inside, I was falling apart. With each passing day, I felt more alone and desperate. The fear that the situation would worsen paralyzed me, preventing me from seeking help. I believed that if I ignored the problem, it would simply go away. But unfortunately, depression doesn't work that way. It is a shadow that haunts you, suffocates you, prevents you from living fully. And the longer you take to face it, the harder it becomes to break free from it. The turning point, that moment when the reality hit me, happened on a sunny morning that ironically contrasted with the darkness inside me. I was driving to work, the same route as always, when suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my chest, followed by shortness of breath and tingling in my arms. I thought I was having a heart attack. I parked the car on the side of the road, hands trembling so much that I could barely turn off the engine. Panic took over me. I called my husband, my voice choked with tears, barely able to explain what was happening. He arrived in minutes, visibly concerned, and took me straight to the emergency room. I still remember the cold and impersonal waiting room, the strong smell of disinfectant, the muffled voices of the other patients. I was seen by a caring doctor who listened attentively to my story, asked questions about my medical history, and subjected me to a series of tests: electrocardiogram, blood test, chest x-ray. While waiting for the results, anxiety was eating me up inside. Every beat of my heart felt like a drum signaling the end. The tests ruled out heart problems, but the doctor, sensing my distress, referred me to a psychiatrist. The initial consultation was long and exhaustive. I had to answer an extensive questionnaire, describe my symptoms in detail, talk about my fears, frustrations, dreams. I felt completely exposed, vulnerable. At the end of the consultation, the psychiatrist gave me the diagnosis: depression. The words echoed in my mind like thunder. Depression. That illness that I always associated with weak people, lacking willpower, unable to cope with life's problems. Me? Depressed? It was unbelievable. A shock. A denial. I refused to accept it. It can't be, I said to myself. I am strong. I have a family, a good job. I have no reason to be depressed. I left the office dazed, not knowing where to go. I sat on a park bench, tears running down my face. The world seemed to have collapsed on me. All my certainties crumbled. The future, once promising, now seemed uncertain and dark. Anguish suffocated me. I began to question everything. What had I done wrong? Why me? What would people think? How would I deal with this? I was afraid of the stigma, prejudice, lack of understanding. I was afraid of the medication, the side effects, dependency. I was afraid of never being the same person again. I needed answers, support, a friendly shoulder. I started researching about depression on the internet, reading books, watching videos. I found out that I wasn't alone, that millions of people worldwide suffer from the same illness. It gave me some comfort, but it wasn't enough. I needed to talk to someone, to let out all that pain, all that fear. The beginning of the treatment felt like entering a dark maze, with no map and no flashlight. The psychiatrist prescribed me antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs, explaining that they would take a few weeks to take effect. At first, I felt hopeful. believing that the solution was there, in those small colored pills. But soon the side effects began to appear, catching me by surprise. Nausea, dizziness, insomnia, dry mouth, blurred vision. My body seemed to be at war with the medication. Each day I felt weaker and more debilitated. Despite the side effects, I struggled to follow the medical guidance, attending appointments, taking the medicines at the right times, and trying to maintain a healthy routine. But the depression was stronger than I had imagined. It consumed me from the inside, robbing me of joy, energy, and the will to live. There were days when I could barely get out of bed, feeling like a dead weight. Anguish suffocated me, preventing me from breathing. Sadness invaded me like a giant wave, drowning me in a sea of hopelessness. At one of the most critical moments, I was hospitalized in a psychiatric clinic. The experience was frightening and painful. I felt isolated from the world, surrounded by people with even more serious problems than mine. The routine was strict, the hours controlled, freedom limited. But despite the difficulties, the hospitalization provided me with a safe and welcoming environment where I could focus on my recovery. I received intensive medical care, participated in group and individual therapies, and learned to deal with my feelings in a healthier way. During treatment, I had to undergo several surgeries to correct health issues that had been aggravated by depression. The surgeries were successful, but the recovery period was long and painful. Each day I felt more tired and debilitated. The hair loss, one of the side effects of the medication, made me even more insecure and depressed. I felt ugly, deformed, unrecognizable. The image I saw in the mirror no longer represented me. The limitations imposed by the disease deeply frustrated me. I could no longer do the things that used to give me pleasure. I couldn't work, travel, hang out with friends. I needed to adapt to a new reality, slower, quieter, lonelier. I felt like a prisoner in my own body, trapped in a dark cell with no windows. There were moments when I thought about giving up. The pain was so intense that I saw no point in continuing. I believed I would never be happy again, that depression had stolen my life. But in those moments of despair, I clung to faith, hope, and the love of my family and friends. They were my safe haven, my foundation, my reason to keep going. The support I received from my family, friends, and medical team was crucial to my recovery. My husband was an unwavering companion, loving and caring for me at all times. My parents and siblings gave me strength and courage not to give up. My friends visited me, called me, sent me messages of love. The doctors and therapists offered me a humanized and effective treatment, teaching me how to deal with depression and build a happier and healthier life. I am eternally grateful to all of them. There is a lot of confusion between terminal illness and palliative care, and it is crucial to clarify this idea. Being in a terminal state means that the person has an incurable and progressive disease with a very short life expectancy, usually months. It is a delicate phase that requires a lot of care and attention. Palliative care, on the other hand, is much broader and can be offered to anyone facing a serious illness, regardless of the prognosis or disease stage. The main goal is not to cure, but to provide the best possible quality of life, relieving pain and other physical symptoms, taking care of mental and emotional health, and offering social and spiritual support. It is like a warm embrace in a moment of vulnerability. Many people associate palliative care with the end of life, as if it were a sentence, but that's not true. Palliative care can be initiated from the diagnosis of a serious illness and continue throughout the treatment, including in parallel with therapies aimed at cure. They are an important complement, helping the person to face the illness with more dignity and comfort. Imagine you are climbing a very high and difficult mountain. Palliative care is like an experienced guide, helping you find the best path, providing support when you are tired, and helping you appreciate the beauty of the landscape, even amidst the effort. During my treatment for depression, palliative care was essential in helping me deal with the physical and emotional symptoms of the illness. The pain, fatigue, insomnia, anxiety, fear, all of this was very intense and difficult to bear. The palliative care team offered me psychological support, medications to relieve pain and other symptoms, and guidance on how to take care of myself. They taught me relaxation techniques like deep breathing and mindfulness, which helped calm my mind and reduce anxiety. In addition to traditional medical care, I also tried some alternative therapies that brought me a lot of relief and well-being. Meditation, for example, helped me connect with my inner self, accept my feelings, and find peace amidst the chaos. I started with guided sessions, which helped me focus and silence my thoughts. Over time, I learned to meditate on my own at home, using meditation as a tool to cope with daily stress and anxiety. Yoga was also very important for my recovery. The physical postures, breathing exercises, and relaxation techniques helped me strengthen my body, lengthen my muscles, and relieve tension. Additionally, yoga taught me to have more awareness of my body and connect with my emotions. Yoga classes became a sacred time in my week, a time to take care of myself, reconnect with my essence, and feel stronger and more confident. Acupuncture also brought me a lot of relief, especially for headaches and muscle pains. The thin needles inserted at specific points in the body helped unblock energy, relieve pain, and relax muscles. Acupuncture sessions left me with a feeling of lightness and well-being, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. All of these therapies helped me deal with the symptoms of depression, reduce stress, and improve my quality of life. They showed me that there are other ways to take care of myself beyond medications and traditional therapy. They taught me to connect with my body, listen to my feelings, and find healing within myself. Palliative care, combined with alternative therapies, was a valuable gift I received during my treatment, and I am grateful for every professional who helped me on this journey. I believe that everyone deserves access to this kind of care so they can face illness with more dignity, comfort, and hope. After a period of relative calm, a scare hit me like a bucket of cold water. I felt stronger, more balanced, almost believing that depression had become a distant memory. I was resuming activities that gave me pleasure, reconnecting with friends and family, and even thinking about returning to work. But, like a recurring nightmare, the symptoms began to reappear, initially silently, but with a persistence that frightened me. Insomnia returned, relentless, stealing my nights of sleep and leaving me exhausted during the day. Anxiety, once controlled, resurfaced with full force, causing palpitations, sweating, and a constant sense of apprehension. Sadness, that old acquaintance, enveloped me again in its dark aura, robbing me of joy and hope. The feeling that everything was starting over was devastating. It was as if all my efforts, all my achievements had been in vain. The frustration was immense. The revolt screamed within me. Why me again? I asked myself, feeling unjust and powerless. The battle, which I believed I had won, resurfaced with an even greater ferocity, making me wonder if I would ever be able to break free from that vicious cycle. This time, the symptoms were different, more intense, and more persistent. In addition to insomnia, anxiety, and sadness, I began to experience frequent headaches, dizziness, and extreme fatigue that did not improve even with rest. I also noticed some dark spots on my skin that were not there before. Worried, I scheduled an appointment with my doctor, who referred me for a series of tests: MRI, CT scan, biopsy. The results were like a bombshell. Unfortunately, depression was not the only battle I would have to face. The tests revealed metastases, meaning the disease had spread to other parts of the body. The news shocked me, leaving me in disbelief. The fear of death, which I tried to keep dormant, awoke with all its might, paralyzing me and consuming me from within. The first reaction was denial. I refused to believe, to accept that my body was betraying me, that life was playing a cruel joke on me. But gradually, reality imposed itself, forcing me to face the truth. Acceptance was a painful but necessary process. I understood that I couldn't control the future, that life is uncertain and unpredictable, and that the only thing left for me was to live the present in the best possible way. The search for psychological and spiritual support became essential in this new stage of my life. Therapy helped me deal with my fears, my anxieties, and my frustrations. Contact with faith brought me peace, hope, and comfort. Spirituality taught me to value each moment, to be grateful for the little things, and to find meaning in life even amidst pain. I decided to focus on living in the present, on cherishing every moment as if it were the last. I prioritized time with my family and friends, allowing myself to enjoy simple but precious moments. I resumed activities that bring me joy, such as reading, writing, listening to music, and being in touch with nature. I sought to learn new things, to challenge myself, to step out of my comfort zone. Every day, I strive to maintain a positive attitude, to cultivate gratitude, and to spread love and joy wherever I go. I believe that life is a gift, and that each day is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to love, and to be happy. It is with this mindset that I face each day, with courage, faith, and hope. Life taught me, in a harsh and unexpected way, that the present is all we really have. The future is an uncertain promise, and the past, well, the past is gone. For a long time, I lived focused on distant goals and objectives, always chasing something that seemed out of reach. I stopped appreciating the little joys of daily life, the moments of connection with the people I love, the beauty that surrounds me. Illness forced me to stop, to look within myself, and to rediscover the value of simple things. Today, I try to live each day as if it were a gift. I wake up in the morning and thank for another day of life, for the opportunity to breathe, to love, to learn. I love having my breakfast without rush, savoring the taste of each sip, and feeling the warmth of the cup in my hands. I watch the sunrise, painting the sky with vibrant colors, and I feel grateful to be part of this natural spectacle. My favorite activities have become even more special. Reading a good book, sitting in my garden, with the birds singing in the background, is one of my greatest pleasures. Writing also helps me express my feelings, organize my thoughts, and make sense of my experience. I enjoy walking on the beach, feeling the sea breeze on my face and the soft sand under my feet. Nature calms me, renews me, and connects me with something greater than myself. Moments of joy have become even more precious. A conversation with my daughter, a tight hug from my husband, a family dinner, a gathering with dear friends. It is these moments that fill my heart with happiness and make me feel loved and welcomed. I have learned to value relationships, express my feelings, and be grateful for the people who are part of my life. The little things that bring me happiness are numerous. A genuine smile, a kind word, a gesture of affection, a flower in the garden, a sunbeam, a soul-touching song. I have learned to appreciate the beauty hidden in the details, to find joy in simple things, and to be grateful for all that I have. Illness has taught me to prioritize what truly matters. I have set aside unnecessary worries, excessive demands, comparisons with others. I no longer care about what others think, what they expect from me. I live my life according to my values, my principles, and my desires. I have learned to say no, to distance myself from toxic people, and to protect my energy. Time has become my most precious asset. I do not waste it on things that do not bring me joy or that do not help me grow. I invest in activities that nourish my soul, in relationships that strengthen me, and in projects that inspire me. I have learned to live in the present, to savor each moment, and to seize every opportunity. I am thankful for life, for each day, for each experience, for each lesson. I am grateful for the people who love me, for the challenges that make me grow, and for the joys that light me up. I believe that life is a gift, and it is up to us to make the most of it. And it is with this mindset that I move forward, with courage, faith, and hope. Life and death, for me, have ceased to be abstract concepts and have become constant and tangible presences. Before the illness, I lived as if I had all the time in the world, postponing dreams and prioritizing things that, now I see, were superficial. Death was something distant, something that happened to others, not to me. But facing a serious illness confronted me with my own mortality, teaching me that life is finite, precious, and that each moment should be lived with intensity and gratitude. I began to see death not as an end, but as a transition, a passage to another plane, another dimension. I believe that the soul is eternal and that life is just a journey of learning and evolution. Death, in this sense, would be like a portal, an opportunity to move forward, to continue our journey in a new context. This perspective brought me peace and serenity, helping me to deal with fear and anxiety. Illness has transformed me deeply. It made me stronger, more resilient, and compassionate. Pain taught me to value health, to take care of my body and mind. Suffering made me more sensitive to the needs of others, leading me to practice empathy and solidarity. The struggle gave me the courage to face challenges, to overcome obstacles, and to move forward even when all seems lost. I learned not to be discouraged by difficulties, not to cling to the past, and not to worry about the future. To live in the present, to savor every moment, and to be thankful for every small joy. Illness taught me to love unconditionally, to forgive offenses, and to value relationships. It showed me that love is the most powerful force in the universe, capable of healing wounds, transforming pain into learning, and lighting the way. The legacy I want to leave behind is that of a person who loved intensely, who lived with passion, and who made a difference in people's lives. I want to be remembered as someone who inspired others to take care of their health, to live fully, and to pursue their dreams. I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement for those facing similar challenges. If you are going through a tough time, remember that you are not alone. Seek support. Talk to your friends and family. Seek professional help. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. Believe in yourself, in your strength, and in your ability to overcome obstacles. Do not give up on your dreams. Life is a precious gift, and you deserve to live it fully. Take care of your physical and mental health. Eat healthily, exercise, get enough sleep, avoid stress, and make time for leisure and rest. Cultivate healthy relationships. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. Learn to deal with your emotions, to express your feelings, and to seek inner balance. Live in the present, enjoy every moment, and be grateful for every little joy. Do not worry about the future. Do not dwell on the past. Focus on the now, on what you can do to be happy and to make a difference in people's lives. Remember that life is a journey, and that each day is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to love, and to be happy. Be kind to yourself, forgive your mistakes, and celebrate your achievements. Believe in your strength, in your ability to overcome challenges, and to achieve your goals. Do not give up on your dreams. Life is a precious gift, and you deserve to live it fully. And always remember, you are not alone. There is always someone who cares about you, who loves you, and who is willing to help you. Seek support, talk, share your feelings. Together, we can overcome any obstacle and build a world that is fairer, more supportive, and happier. I learned the hard way the importance of listening to my own body. It speaks, it whispers, it screams. I ignored the signs for a long time, prioritizing other things that, in the end, proved to be less important. Do not make the same mistake. Pay attention to the signs your body gives you. Excessive tiredness, persistent pain, sudden mood changes. Do not minimize these symptoms. Seek medical help, get routine checkups, prevent. Early diagnosis can make all the difference. Prevention is the best remedy. If I could give just one piece of advice based on my personal experience, it would be, do not be afraid to face the illness. Do not give in to despair. Believe in your strength, in your ability to overcome obstacles. Seek support from your family, your friends, your faith. Faith, whatever it may be, can be a great comfort in these moments. Find within yourself the necessary courage to fight, the hope to believe that healing is possible, and the faith to move forward, even when everything seems lost. Believe in yourself. And above all, love. Love intensely. Love unconditionally. Love yourself. Love your family. Love your friends. Love life. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, capable of healing wounds, turning pain into learning, and illuminating the way. Love sustained me in the most difficult moments, gave me strength to fight, and showed me that life is worth living, even with all its imperfections. I am grateful for each day, for each experience, for each lesson. I am grateful for the people who love me and support me. I am grateful for life, even with all its pains and challenges. I believe in the strength of life, in its ability to renew itself, to reinvent itself, and to surprise us at every moment. I believe that each moment is a gift, and it is up to us to make the best of it. Value every smile, every hug, every sunrise. Life is a breath, a fleeting moment. Love, live, be happy. That is my message. That is my truth. And may the divine light illuminate the path of all of you. Thank you very much.